thing that they can, when they get to the test, the principles will show forth. But a lot of times, if you're not taught to be a test taker, tests can be very intimidating. There are people who are brilliant who don't test well. So if children are going to be judged just by their testing, unless they're taught specifically to be great testers, then I think that's going to, you're starting off in a way where you're not empowering them.
So you've got funding, effectiveness, and what would your third one be? Issue facing public education. Funding, effectiveness, and you got one other.
I know what I said there, but I'm thinking right now I'm really concerned about the consolidation thing and how that's going to play out.
Okay.
Of course, in real time, things are constantly changing. So I think that's going to be a real issue. And how are you all? How do you all feel about the consolidation?
Well, I can talk about that after, if you don't mind. So you have these three issues that you see in the city and facing public education in Memphis. We've been asking candidates to dive a little bit deeper in telling us what they see as the three top issues of education in their district, specifically in District 7. What would you see the top three issues within the district would be in the schools?
I don't want to get poetic again and say effectiveness. I think it's important, especially now we have a very diverse community. We've lost a couple of schools as the district lines have changed, but it's a very diverse community. For instance, there's a school on Jackson Elementary. It's 90% Hispanic, and they have certain issues that are not the same issues that are at Douglas. Douglas has some issues that are not the same issues in Hollywood. And then we actually have an alternative school or two in the district, which has very special needs. I think one of the major things, though, is if we approach education in a sense. There was a when we were in Little Rock, I remember when the principal first came in, and she said, the only way you can really prove that you have taught is the fact that they have learned. Mm-hmm. Now, you can say that you've shared. You can say you demonstrated. You can use a whole lot of other adjectives. But the only way that you can say that you really taught, the evidence of you teaching is their learning. And I just think right now that is paramount. And having a sense of community, which I think is great, especially in the Douglas area. Having a sense of community, I think, reinforces that. When children love school and they feel good about what they're doing in school, their eyes brighten on a daily basis because every time they come to school, they learn something that they didn't know, and they thrive for that. I think we're creating the type of environment where ultimate education is available. But without that, so those are some of the things I think that we really should focus on.
In your opinion, what are the most important elements, and what would the city council, as a city council member, what would you do of short-term goals that you would want to accomplish and long-term goals that you would want to accomplish as a city council member?
Short-term goals as a city council member is I would like to see all of the schools, especially within our district, I would like to see all of them on the advance. I would like to have a district that has no failing schools, of course. And I would like to have a district that creates an environment where schooling is achievable. I was talking to someone, and their major thing was homelessness, and they were saying, homeless children still go to school, so they have a whole nother set of issues apart from somebody who left a home and had breakfast and so on and so forth. For some of these children, the only 2 meals they'll have in a day are the 2 that they have at school. So I would like to see a lot of those issues really, because to be honest with you, never really thought about it as in depth as they were as they were explaining it to me. Like even in the summertime, because they're not in contact with teachers who sometimes help out, even having toiletries. I was like, wow. In the United States of America, in Memphis, Tennessee, in District 7, someone would have to worry about not having toothpaste or toothbrush I think that all of those situations need to be examined, and I think I think they should be done away with.
As a city council member, how would you use your position to fix the homelessness problem of children?
Well, one thing I would do is like what I'm doing now, is I am engaging myself in conversations with people who understand it a whole lot better than I do. One thing there are some areas that I know pretty well, and there's some areas that I know I need to know a lot better. In those areas, what I try to do is surround myself with people who know them a lot better, and I try to get a diverse set of people when it comes to that. And with the ones that I've talked about, that's why I said that issue has come up. But I would like to engage myself in conversations with people who do understand it and can come up with viable solutions. We worked with a couple of people over the summer to make sure that students had toiletries and stuff like that, because that was brought to our awareness. And a lot of organizations that we work with, one that we started a couple of years ago, Care Cuts, for I guess now about a few weekends we've done free haircuts. We've sponsored it with school barbering schools, because how a person feels about themselves a lot of times is so connected with how they're able to present themselves. So,
how would you work with your other colleagues on the city council to fix the homelessness of children?
How would I work with my colleagues? I guess after getting the information that I have, I'm going to try to bring forth whatever type of legislation that is deemed necessary to alleviate the problem. It's funny, because homelessness was an issue that I thought, and I still think, could have been alleviated even with I do a lot of work that I do with the faith community, and there was one point that we were looking at the numbers, and there are more churches in Memphis than there were homeless people. If only one church was responsible for one person, we could have ended homelessness that day. And I think when we look at it like that, and in ways like that, I believe that viable solutions can be doable, because if everybody gets involved, my grandmama used to say, if everybody does a little bit, then, nobody has to do a lot.
In order for Memphis to really thrive and strive, as a city council member, what do you think you could bring to the table to change this city?
Here comes the funny part. And what I do, even in life,